Welcome back. We are looking at the second group of 18 sayings, but we are focusing now on them in their themed groups rather than as individual sayings. The next set that we're going to be looking at is 2.4, 2.5 and 2.6. And the theme that runs through them, I guess, can be put as becoming the light. It's that place of awakening where you begin to understand that you are not just this physical being and that you need to begin to relate to yourself and the world around you as both physical and non-physical. So let's read these three sayings out. 2.4, I will choose you, 1 out of 1,000 and 2 out of 10,000, and they shall stand as single ones. 2.5, they asked, show us the place where you are, for it is necessary for us to seek after it. He said to them, those who have ears, let them hear. There is light within a person of light, and they become light to the whole world. If they do not shine, they are darkness, or there is darkness. 2.6, a city that is built on a high mountain and fortified cannot fall, nor can it be hidden. So the theme that runs through these is becoming the light. But we also need to remember that we are in this second 18, and there is this principal theme which also is within the sayings, which is, and when they find they will be troubled, and if they are troubled they will be amazed, and they will reign over all, and in reigning they shall find rest. So all of that is also weaved in here. 2.4, I will choose you, 1 out of 1,000 and 2 out of 10,000, and they shall stand as single ones. This idea of the chosen runs through the sayings, and it becomes obvious that amongst us there are those people who have a calling to be on this path, those people who are awakening. That is happening because of two dimensions. There is the physical person whose DNA, whose lineage has all the right ingredients to give them that potential to move into this other realm. And somewhere usually within that family history, there'll be an interest in alternative ideas and thoughts. It may be that a grandmother was a tarot reader, or there's a history of being able to heal or have knowledge of healing. Sometimes there is a perception where a person has those kind of psychic abilities and can hear and see. There is usually something in there which is needed now by the person who is awakening to be able to retune their senses and retune their perception to enable them to understand the other half of what is being shown to us here, which is the non-physical, the living spirit. I will choose you 1 out of 1,000 or 2 out of 10,000. That is the living spirit that is mature, which is choosing that body in that location with that lineage, because there is potential for that person to awaken. None of this is by accident. And when you start to see the world with those two dimensions, you realize that those people who are starting to wake up are waking up because this is their purpose. This is their time, not only from a physical dimension, but because the non-physical is driving that process forwards. And they shall stand as single ones. When you realize that it is you who are awakening, that you are now on the right path, then you realize that your first step is to bring those two halves together. You need that knowledge to point you in the right direction. You need the correct information. You need to define the search so you can go down the right path. But ultimately, it is about you coming together in a unified state. That's what we're being asked to do here. 2.5. They asked, show us the place where you are, for it is necessary for us to seek after it. Jesus then says, there is light within a person of light. And if they become light, then the whole world knows. But if they don't, then there is darkness. So let's just explore that. Show us the place where you are. Now, there are moments within the sayings where you realize that the person, Jesus, the man, has evolved beyond the boundaries of not just what I could describe as a normal human state, but he's moved into this state of consciousness, which is even beyond unity. He's had an awakening, but now he's connected to this global consciousness. He's moved into this state where it's obvious to the disciples who are looking at him that there is something way beyond the normal realms of a human being. They are being confronted with this human who speaks in terms and speaks in ideas and thoughts that none of them have even ever considered. And this is one of those moments that you see that. And suddenly he comes out with, there is light within a person of light. That's not a normal conversation for people to sit around and have. He is connected to a higher consciousness that is bringing a message and is asking us to look in a particular direction. It is giving us spiritual knowledge that it wants us then to go and experience and find for ourselves. There is light within a person of light. That is the living spirit being discovered. That is when you, as a person of potential, has that moment where you experience the living spirit within, and it is so profound that it becomes the cornerstone of your being. That cannot be taken away. It cannot be robbed by anybody challenging you. You have that experience where you know absolutely for sure that you are a being that has these two dimensions within you. When that happens, you become light to the whole world. It's such a rare thing for unity to occur. And as part of this potential that you have, as part of this awakening, there is this element that you cannot keep that to yourself, that you have to share. You are compelled to pass this information across. It is that continuity. It is teacher to student. It is that passing on of the consciousness between people, and you will be known. Now, there is a warning here, which is the troubled part of this principal theme. If they do not shine, they will be darkness. Sometimes it's written, there is darkness. If you or those people like you do not awaken, then the light remains hidden. This consciousness remains hidden. It cannot then move between people. It cannot awaken others. And that is what the darkness is. We're being told that the world is this spiritless place, but within it there are people awakening. There are points of light that are starting to shine through. If that does not happen, then there is darkness, and the person remains dark and unfulfilled. But the world also remains dark if those points of light don't come through and that consciousness can't be shared between people. Extraordinary saying. And as you'll see now, that now rolls into 2.6. A city that is built on a high mountain and fortified cannot fall, nor can it be hidden. So you can immediately see that 2.4, 2.5 and 2.6 now all roll into one another with that theme of becoming the light. The city here is the description of the person that begins this path. And the city is built from their thoughts and beliefs and ideas and the facts that they've gleaned from the environment around them. That is a city. But the city has to be deconstructed as part of this process. You have to knock the city down so that it can be rebuilt. What rebuilds it is the truth of the knowledge, information, and particularly the experiences that you have. That is the rebuilding process. The high mountain here is trust. As you work your way up the mountain to start rebuilding the city, the high mountain is trust. And it is that keeps you moving along the path. It's not faith or acceptance or hope or belief. It is an inner sense of trust that you are being led in the right way. And that trust is reinforced by the knowledge and experience that you gain along the way. That's what the sayings are there for. They are supports. The fortification that is spoken around, that runs around this city that is being built, that's truth. Fortifications are the truth. And if we think back to the thieves and the robbers, those who try and undermine our knowledge, try and undermine our experience, the fortification is there. And we were told in a previous saying, prepare yourself with great strength. And it's that knowledge of what can come when you go down this path that is being put to us. So 2.6 then finishes with, nor can it be hidden. And once again, that is the light of the person. When you become light, you become light to the world. And that is that theme that is kind of crossing over there, that you can't hide what you've discovered. At some point, you feel this compulsion to share with others. So an extraordinary set of 3 sayings, all about becoming the light